Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Grow Your Life podcast. My name is Jeremiah Krakowski, and on this podcast we talk about ways for you to grow in your life and your business to get more results. Now this week I'm going to be talking about something that I think affects everybody that I meet in business, and it's something that I think you can really apply and get a lot of value out of. I feel that I have talked about this a lot before. I've shared this a lot before. By the way, I got little Halston here in my hands. Mom's out at the store, and if I set him down, he's not too happy. So I'm just going to hold him, and we're going to talk to the camera, and we're going to do the podcast together. Say hi, Halston. What's up, buddy? Anyways, so the biggest thing that a lot of people get wrong in their business is there's so much that we're told about how to do things the right way. What's the right way to do things? What's the best way to do things? What's the best practices? And I see so many people concerning themselves with this of doing everything the right way, doing everything, following through with things the right way. And of course, like they're thinking, well, I don't want to do anything the wrong way, right? Obviously, we don't want to do things the wrong way in our business. But that inordinate focus on always figuring out doing things the right way and not doing something or stagnating or stopping ourselves from actually doing something until it's the right way. For instance, here's a great example. The right way to create a podcast, quote unquote, is in a studio, not holding a 9-month-old in the middle of your living room with boxes because you just moved into a new house. But guess what? Here I am today because this is the moment in time that I found 20, 30 minutes to record a podcast today. And that's how I have made so much money in business. That's how my mom has made so much money in business. That's how the people that I work with that make the maximum amount of money in their business do so, is they don't wait until the best practices right way comes along. They don't sit around waiting until success aligns and their stars and their lucky stars align and they do everything perfect. They take action imperfectly. And imperfect action might look like literally recording a podcast with a baby on your hip while you're doing that. Some of y'all might not even think that you could do that. And so I want to just encourage you of that. And I'm literally using this as an active example for you of how you could be making more money in your business, and you might be sacrificing success in your business and in your life by trying to do everything the right way according to what somebody else has told you. You know, I have people that come to me all the time. They're like, what's the right price to charge in my business? What's the right software to use? What's the right platform to use? And you could use any number of different platforms. Now, I get that, and I have recommendations for different platforms that are easier to set up, easier to build on, easier to get results with. But there's no such thing as a quote-unquote right way, one way of doing everything. I think that that's one of the biggest fallacies that people have when it comes to business, is that there is a single path to success. There's a singular right way to build everything. And if you don't do it that one right way, then you can't be successful. That's not been a reality in my career. And I've worked for 2 decades with multi-millionaire business owners. Myself, I've built my own business to over $1 million in the last year. We've made 7 figures in our business. And yeah, little Halston, he's falling asleep here while I'm talking. I had a feeling he would fall asleep while I did this, which is great. And so understand that if you're always trying to do everything the right way in your business, you're going to suffer. You're going to actually experience failure. The pursuit of the most right way of doing things in your business is the cause and effect behind much of the reasons why you might not be making the kind of money you want to make, why you might not have the kind of success that you want, because you're waiting until you come across the right way instead of doing things with what you have in front of me. I have people ask me right now, well, Jeremiah, like, you could build your business with XYZ software that's better than what you're doing. Why haven't you moved it over to everything. And there are superior ways that I could build my business. And I intentionally choose to not build them the way that I should do according to what everybody tells me, because I would rather just go make a ton of money doing things the way that I can consistently do, the way that I started them, instead of getting off track, distracting myself to quote unquote align with some version of what the right way is and actions that I quote unquote should do according to some arbitrarily decided version of should do in business that people have come up with. And by the way, that's all that any of the right way that people say is. I mean, you could make that argument even to what I'm saying right here. But this is why I particularly speak to coaches, mentors, trainers, because we're not heart surgeons. We're not building automobiles. We're not building houses, okay? I just bought a new house. Like there's a construction standard that you want a house to measure up to. And this house was built in the 90s. It's solid as a rock. It's a brick house. I mean, it's amazing. It's stood the test of time. And so they built it the right way. There was a standard to do that. In the mentoring and coaching business, there are some best practices when it comes to getting leads, and there's a better way to do things. But what I find is people that are not making money in the beginning, they are inordinately focused on the quote unquote right way, best way, and are almost, I hear it because I hear them in my coaching group. They actually tell me this. I've had people actually verbalize and say this to me. I can't build my business until I know XYZ. Oh, and then they'll say, I am crying and shuddering inside, emotionally destroyed because I can't figure out what the right way is to do XYZ. And so that barrier that is created by, I need things to be the right way, I need them to be perfect, it ultimately comes from believing that if things were the right way, then success would happen. And if they're not the right way, success won't happen. And that belief is false when it comes to the coaching and mentoring business. That there's a quote unquote right way to do things. There's no single right way to do anything in this business. If you're learning from me in my podcast, I will tell you if there's a path to take or things like that. But I see this particularly when it comes to the software packages that people are using. When it comes particularly to the initial getting off the ground, their domain name, their web, and there's so many resources out there now in 2023, 2024, and beyond, in the world that we're living in, to streamline and simplify things, that there's actually a lot of right way, best practices, and even companies out there that provide those. I tell people this: YouTube, ChatGPT, Google, and then Facebook groups. Those are 4 incredible resources if you're ever stuck and you don't know how to do something. Even if it's legal stuff, even if it's website stuff, even if it's marketing stuff, even if it's how to take payment stuff, things like that, you can learn it. And you can even ask ChatGPT how to do this. You can get help. You don't need to be stuck. If you're a part of my mentorship program, you can get help. You can ask me questions to help you. There's no reason to be stuck. But the biggest reason that I see people not making money in their business is an inordinate focus on doing things and getting started the quote unquote right way, and being so avoidant of anything that might not have the cha-ching stamp of approval, 100% guaranteed, this is the bona fide right way to do it, when in fact, what actually produces results in this business financially is not going to have that stamp of approval on it. Most of the time because it's cutting edge. Most of the time because in the mentorship business, when it actually comes to promoting and building your brand and actually getting clients and actually getting people to become a client of yours, you're not going to run into those things at all. You're not going to have the quote unquote cha-ching, bona fide, certified one way to do things. And that's also how people can get led astray. It's also how people can lose a lot of money. It's also how I see a lot of people losing in their business is they're searching for and looking for a single one best practice, right way to do everything. And it's literally what stops people from experiencing success is this need for things to be perfect, how they should, to have clarity, certainty, certification, bona fide, knowing exactly what the best, right, most certain thing to do is, when in fact that does not exist in reality at all, ever, for any successful business owner that I know. Period. What they do is they take the resources, they take the knowledge, they take the people they have, and they make the best by basically jerry-rigging their resources together in the best way they can. That's the right way to do things. That's actually the path to financial success. And so if you're hearing me right now and you're like, man, I just can never do that, challenge that thinking. If you want to be a millionaire, if you want to be successful, challenge that thinking. Where did that come from? Whoever told you that you need to make sure that things are perfect in order to be successful and to not do things? As people say this, they say, I would rather not start at all than possibly start the wrong way. And it's like, I have no gauge for that personally, because I just know that that's so divorced from even coming close to financial success. But when you can learn to bootstrap it, to get kind of scrappy with it, to figure it out, to make the best of the resources you have, that's where cash flow starts coming in. That's where you actually making the kind of money that you want to make in your business actually starts to come together. And the people that I know that are successful, they didn't wait until they knew things were perfect. They figured it out as they went along. They made the best of the resources they had. Even if they weren't the quote unquote perfect best, they went out there. They continued to test things out, to experiment, to see how was it going to work out. And they were willing to bend the rules, to break the rules, to not try to find and color inside the lines. They actually realized that financial success comes from coloring outside the lines. And that's what I want to encourage you in today. Like, if you're watching this right now, and you want to create financial success for you and your family, you have to realize that waiting until everything's perfect is not how that's going to happen. Waiting until, quote unquote, the stars align and you feel certain. You will not feel certain in your business to the point that you know that things are right ever. And that's a facade. The people that I know that are most successful, they have an ever experimentation mindset. They're not looking for that moment of peace inside their heart to know that things are ready to move forward with. To know that things are ready to finally pull the trigger on. I got peace around this, so now I'm going to pull the trigger. Like, that's not how success is created. That's how failures are made. That's how continuous failure is made. And when you've done that enough times, by the way, I'm speaking to you as somebody that has done 100% of everything that I'm telling you to not do. Because that's how I live my life. Because that's how I was trained. Because that's how I was taught. That's how I was even raised. Which is funny, because I was raised by a mother who didn't do that, but she taught me to do that for my own safety. to protect me as a mother trying to protect her kids. She told me to do things different than how she even did them herself for my own protection and safety. And now she commends me to this day. We have conversations, mom and son, as two business owners, of the fact that I went against what she taught me and raised me to do for my own safety, and that I've actually broken through to financial success by going against how I was raised. Literally. I plan on instilling in my son to be fearless, to not be afraid to go out there, to not be afraid to experiment, to, of course, be cautious about certain things. In this business, you don't have, like you're not going to have a benefit from being overly cautious. There's not a benefit from tiptoeing and walking around on eggshells, being concerned and worried that things aren't perfect, that they might not work out, that they might not go the right way. That's actually the formula for financial failure in this business model of coaching, mentoring, training, being a thought leader. And so if you want to be successful, it's going to take doing some hard, scary, risky things. It's going to take putting yourself out there without guarantees, without knowing how something's going to turn out, just to see what happens. And that's what produces success. And you're not always going to have the quote unquote right way of it being set up, but consistently having momentum produces results. Momentum beats the perfect funnel, the perfect system, the perfect software every day of the week, 100% of the time. And again, that's coming from somebody who was obsessive compulsive, literally around the perfect funnel, the perfect strategy, putting everything perfect. I was obsessed with perfectionism for the longest time. And when I set out to build my own business, it bit me in the butt. And that's why I struggled to make the kind of money that we're making today in the beginning. When I set out there to do it myself, I had all the strategies, but I was overly concerned with perfection. And that stopped me from making the kind of money that I wanted to make. And as soon as I shifted into what I'm telling you right now in this podcast, that's when the finances started to come in. That's what changed my life forever. And it'll change yours as well. Listen, I encourage you, take this to heart, take it serious, and apply it in your life. Listen, if this podcast has helped you, share it with somebody. Don't hold it back to yourself. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it with somebody else that's out there. Pass it on. And as well, join us for one of our live events that we're doing. We host free business training events where I teach you and give you the strategies of what's working in your business free of charge. And I'm not just talking about these are not marketing, cleverly disguised marketing pitches. These are actual events where I give you the secret sauce, where I pull back the curtain and show you what it takes to be successful. Make sure to join us for some of those in the future. Grow your life, and we'll talk soon. Have a good one.